Hello, Suns fans. This is Suns Latest. I am Rich Rubin. We have more than I could ever possibly cover today, so let's see if we can actually get to it. Quote of the day: Hey, Yankees, you can take your apology and your trophy and shove them straight up your ass. That's from Tanner Boyle from the Bad News Bears. Now, see, I am a kid who got to see the Bad News Bears in the theaters as a little kid and couldn't believe what he was seeing. Also, couldn't stop laughing. Now, racial BS in that movie aside, there's no excuse for it. Put it aside, watch the TV version where they cut all that stuff out. It's arguably the greatest sports movie of all time because there's no glitz to it. It's just little league moron kids who don't really know what to do, and their coach is an alcoholic, and they just kind of get it together. And no, they don't win in the end. Spoiler alert. I hope you've seen Bad News Bears by this point. But there is something very true about the Bad News Bears, the original Bad News Bears, not the remake, not the Bad News Bears Breaking and Training, not the Bad News Bears go to Japan. That original movie, Jackie Earle Haley as Kelly Leak, the school bully who turns out to be this incredible athlete, with Chris Barnes, that's the actor who played Tanner Boyle, as this little dude who you will not keep down. He wants to kick your butt. He wants to punch you in the mouth, literally, but he also wants to beat you at baseball. And he's not very good, but he doesn't give up. There's so much cool stuff going on with the Bad News Bears. My one criticism is Tatum O'Neal, who was coming off her Oscar win in Paper Moon as Addie, I think, with her dad. And she was really cute in that. She's the only person I see acting in the Bad News Bears. She's not terrible. There's just moments of she's line reading or she's supposed to be the main thing. At the same time, at the end of the day, she was still pretty good in it. But do not miss, find the Bad News Bears. Watch the edited version, so some of the kind of embarrassing stuff gets taken out. But at the same time, you know, my generation, you heard stuff like that in the movie and you're like, yeah, that ain't cool. All right. Don't do that. But you got over it and you enjoyed the movie. Great movie. Tanner Boyle, one of my favorite characters of all time. We have the next preseason game this Friday, the 10th and the 12th. And the Suns, I think right now, or hopefully by tomorrow, are traveling to China because that's where those games are going to be played. They're both going to be against the Nets. Suns kick off the regular season Wednesday, October 22nd at Phoenix Arena against the Kings. I want to briefly talk about the free throw issue in the first game this past Friday against the Lakers. Other than Devin Booker going 6 for 8 and a really, really impressive Jared Butler, backup point guard, going 2 for 2, and Colin Gillespie going 1 for 1, the rest of the Suns better check in with Steve Nash, who will be there to help them on how to make a freaking free throw. 53.8% on Friday, unacceptable. I don't need us to be the best free throw shooting team in the league, but it still blows my mind. It goes way back to even before Shaq. Rick Barry said it in the 70s. He said, it is mind-boggling that professional basketball players can't make 70 to 75% of their free throws. It's a simple thing to do. Nobody's bothering you. You can block out the noise. You're supposed to be able to focus, and nobody is in your face, and you can't even make half of these things, or you barely make half of these things. Suns need to be a 70% free throw shooting team to compete this year, and it's overlooked all the time. It's always one of those stats that happens at the end of the year. Why didn't they do better? Why wasn't their record better? Why didn't they win that third playoff game? And you look at free throw percentage, and it's a big, big part of it. So I really do hope the Suns figure that out. Again, and I'll say this a lot, many times, it was just one preseason game. Let's talk about Oso Agudoro, who I feel would be a better power forward. I see him as being a point center like Boris Diaw was for us. I don't think he's like Diaw. I'm not comparing him to Boris Diaw. It's just I watch his weird finesse game, and he reminds me of Diaw, and he reminds me of Danny Manning. Now, that being said, he has more of a power game than those two ever had. He can bang, and I think he wants to. I noticed it in Summer League. He did a little bit of it against Ayton on Friday against the Lakers. Let's see. Game high 9 rebounds, 5 points, 1 for 6 on free throws, but Oso can switch to guard either forward position as well. He's got pretty quick feet for a big dude, long enough to keep taller centers like DeAndre Ayton honest. Oso's already shown improvement for his willingness to bang and not to be regarded as a finesse soft center. He's really smart. That's I think my favorite part about his game. Leaps and bounds near the end of last year, and then watching him in Summer League, he just looked like a different player. His passes were crisp and on point. Mostly I like his attitude. He's technically the fourth center, although he will see time at power forward. But the Suns kept him with Malawach, Williams, and Mark Williams and Richards. So so very deep at the center position, which is something the Suns have never had, but he is taking charge, and he is competing. Side note to Oso is, did you see DeAndre Ayton being himself on Friday? I don't know if I got more pleasure in the Suns' win or watching DeAndre Ayton do exactly what I said he would do when he got to the Lakers. Started against Oso, 18 minutes, 0 for 2, 8 rebounds. I'll give him credit for the rebounds. 4 turnovers, 2 fouls, and a point. 1 point. He made one of his free throws. Credit for the rebounds. I always thought that was the strongest part of Ayton's game. I always, he had got good hands. He's big. And then the more I watched him, the more I realized 40, 45, 50% of his rebounds are nobody's near him. He was just the tallest guy near the rim. And he's supposed to play near the rim because when you're 7'1", 7'2", with a wingspan like that, why would you not stand right near the rim all day and just get easy dunks, which is what Chris Paul made it look like was happening when Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton were teammates on the Suns, and that's when Ayton was doing 18 and 10. That was all Chris Paul. Or Booker, collapse, making the defense follow him, so there's nobody down around the rim by Ayton. If he had learned basic box out skills and had any desire to learn basic box out skills, DeAndre Ayton would have led the league in rebounding by now. Mark it. Ask anybody. DeAndre Ayton would have led the league in rebounding by now, but he doesn't care, and he's not smart enough to care. That is my biggest issue with DeAndre Ayton. But I'm really happy he's on the Lakers. They have less patience with big men than probably anybody in the league. They'll bench J.J. Redick benched his starting big man Jackson Hayes for the playoffs and decided to completely change everything and go with a smaller lineup last year because he didn't like what Jackson Hayes was doing. You think Ayton's going to be that much better? Rhetorical. Let's get to a couple of quick comments today. Dustin E. 6301, new commenter for Suns Latest. Thank you. Love the news updates. Oh, well, hey, thank you very much. Appreciate you watching. When there's news, I will tell you if there's news. If there is no news, I will not give you news. I will always give you an opinion, and I will always give you content. At Grazaluki 7395, I love the hustle of the team in that first game. I didn't love the mic setup on the rim. Holy Toledo, if I had to hear one more thunk off the rim, it sounded like the producer said, we need more rim sound. Crank that up. Okay, seems like you were more irritated by that than the fact that the Suns destroyed the Lakers. That's fine. Hey, there's little technical things you have to figure out. That might have just been the venue. Remember, sometimes the venue has their own setup that has nothing to do with the league or the teams playing. And that was in Palm Desert, and I promise you, they probably think, no, make a. You know what? I totally agree with you. We need a loud rim sound. Crank that up. Yeah. I like more cowbell, more rim sound. At BYB Boxing, I read one time that Connie Hawkins was a recent Suns legend of the day. We're doing the top 15 Suns of all time, and Hawkins was there, I think, at number 9. I read one time that Connie Hawkins actually had a settlement with the NBA that was worth $6 million. And yes, we did win a coin toss with the Supersonics to be able to get him. I asked the question. I thought that was something that happened. I couldn't remember if it was fact. I did a report on him in 1996 and actually read the book that you were talking about right now. I just ordered Connie Hawkins' book, Foul, from abebooks.com. It should be in the mail before the week is out, and I'll be able to start reading it. I can't believe I never read Connie Hawkins' book. Totally awesome sharing your memories of the Hawk with those of us that never got to see him play. You do a great job of taking me there. Thank you very much. I will always, if I can, take you to a place in Suns history. It's like going down the Jungle Cruise, and here's 1968 when we first got into the league, and here's Connie Hawkins swooping over Wilt Chamberlain. It is a blast to talk about old school stuff with the Suns, regarding the Suns with you guys. So thank you for allowing me to do that. It's really, really fun. And speaking of, I can't call Stoudemire old school, just, in the recent past, but we are going down the top 15 Suns that we all took part in and making that list. Correction, I was wrong. I said Marley was number 9. Dan Marley, the most recent Suns legend of the day of the top 15, he was number 8. So standing tall and talented, Stat, the 7th greatest Phoenix Sun ever. Some are going to say he's a top 5 player. There's an argument for Stat. He was very special. Mari Stoudemire, along with Connie Hawkins, the greatest dunker in Suns history. Shannon Brown was good for a minute, but he wasn't a great player for us. Stoudemire, boy, did he inspire a lot of people. Even though we had Nash, even though we had Matrix, even though we had this 62 game-winning team and the 7 seconds or less Suns. You wanted to see what Stat was going to do. You kind of knew what the other guys were going to do. Matrix was always a wild card. You knew what Stat was going to do, but you wanted to see him do it over and over. He was that explosive. He was that exciting. He did not start playing organized ball until he was 14. He transferred, I want to say, like 5 to 6 times from school to school to school. It had to do with family issues. It wasn't his problem. He just had a jangled family life, and I'm not going to get into that. I think he had to live with his mother-in-law at a certain point. He had a really rough go in high school, but but here's the trip. He only played 2 full seasons of high school basketball. He missed his entire junior year. He was a top-level football player. And the plan was to go to the U and play wide receiver, but in his senior year in basketball, 29.1 points per game, 15 rebounds per game, 6.1 block shots, and 2.1 steals per game. High school All-American, Florida's Mr. Basketball, Florida's High School Player of the Year, listed as a 5-star recruit, and coming out of high school, after barely 2 years, #1 high school prospect in the nation, commits to Memphis, decommits, enters the NBA draft, goes #9 to the Suns, in 2002, straight out of high school, played for the Suns from 2002 to 2010. Alrighty, so talent was obvious, but stat exceeded a lot of what people thought he could be. I remember reading Arizona Republic articles, and just one day there's nothing, and the next day, Suns are taking this guy at 9. This guy's incredible. Look at the size of this guy. Look at the body on this guy. Look at the wingspan on this guy. Look at the first step on this guy. I'm like, what are they? Who? What? Who? No one other than the hardcore basketball recruiters, and even NBA people took him seriously. Even though he had all these accolades coming out, but they're like, he hasn't played long enough. He's not going to be that good. The buzz around Phoenix was the Suns had drafted a superstar. A superstar. The Suns drafted Steve Nash, and he played for us, but there was never superstar talk about a guy like Steve Nash. Not even about Walter Davis. God, Connie Hawkins was the only superstar who showed up as a superstar. This guy showed up out of high school and no one had heard of him. And it was like, from the talent and the desire when he got there, superstar. That's really, really rare for a kid to come in that early and do that. So with Starbury, Matrix, and Joe Johnson, Suns get to the playoffs in his rookie year, improved his second year, but the team was no bueno. Nash shows up in 04, and the two of them run over the league. Best ever Suns record at the time at 62-20. That stood forever until a few years ago with Book and CP3. 26 points per game. First All-Star selection, loses to the Spurs in the Western Conference Final. Keep that in the back of your head because that becomes a stinking theme. Knee issue start in 05, but he's pretty much a non-factor all year. In 06, my God, he comes back really strong. 29 points, 9 boards in the All-Star game. Kobe gets MVP of the All-Star game. There's an asterisk in the All-Star game where every year a Phoenix Suns player has a really good game. Somebody else has a comparable, if not better, game, but the Suns never get the All-Star game trophy unless Shaq gets to share it with Kobe, which is a bunch of crap as far as I'm concerned. In the 07 playoffs against the Spurs, the usually unquotable stat accused Ginobili and Bruce Bowen of being dirty players. He ain't wrong. He was not wrong. Credit to the Spurs for pulling a Pistons bad boy routine against the Suns, taking them out of their rhythm. It still really bothers me how blatant guys like Bowen played, and nobody on the Suns smacked him in the mouth. As tough and as dominating as Stoudemire was, he wasn't that kind of player. We did not have a guy like that. We needed Joe Klein then, because Joe Klein would have like just fallen on Bruce Bowen and go, "Hey man, I'm sorry, I fell down on you and broke your leg." We needed an enforcer. That was the only issue we had with the 7 seconds or less Suns. We needed somebody like Robert Horry to come in and knock somebody in the scores table, and we just didn't have that guy. Diaw, Stat gets suspended for Game 5. Yeah, I'm still salty about this. Leaving the bench after Coach Pop told that wanker Robert Horry to check Steve Nash into the scores table. Funny, Tim Duncan didn't get suspended, and he left the bench earlier in the same game. He didn't get suspended. Suns lose the Spurs in 6 games. Stoudemire averages 26.4, 10.6 rebounds, 2 blocks. He finishes the 06-07 regular season averaging 20 and 9 per game. He was selected to the All-NBA first team as a center. He was our de facto center that year. The next year, he leads the Suns in scoring at 25.2. You could not stop Stoudemire. Offensively, no problem. Defensively, a lot of issues. Offensively, as good as anybody. 9 boards a game. All-Star team, All-NBA second team. Suns lose to the Spurs in the playoffs. again. Coach D'Antoni leaves for the Knicks, all-star the next 2 years, starts wearing goggles because of a detached retina during a Clipper game, and an 09 trade rumors start up. And it was hard to hear trade rumors regarding Stoudemire. At the same time, that training staff that kept him upright knew that those knees, they're going to pop one day, and he's not going to be this guy. And that's called foresight, because they were 100% right. Suns finished with 54 wins, really good playoff run. They blanked the Spurs 4-0 in the semifinals. God, that was satisfying. Had Kobe's Lakers on the ropes, but lost the Western Conference Finals 4-2. That was the last good shot that team had to go to the finals, and they weren't supposed to get there, but they got really far. Stoudemire had like a 42-point game and a 21-point game. Finished his time with the Suns 4th in scoring average and 3rd in rebounds. He opts out, goes to the Knicks in the summer of 2010. He was really good with the Knicks. Right up until just about after the All-Star game. Scored 29, legit MVP candidate, and then the Knicks bring in Carmelo Anthony, and even though they made the playoffs and stat got All-NBA second team, overall had a good year. He started out top 5. That was pretty much it for him, being explosive. The Knicks did not get the Stoudemire that they thought they were getting, and the Suns it was hard to see him go. You wanted that guy to retire as a Sun and just be this guy, but he was cooked. He was still effective, but he was cooked as far as being a really, really good player. That was the last year he was ever an All-Star. He was a bench player for the Knicks. He was a glorified starter when they needed him, but he had gained weight during the lockout. He went overseas to play. He just wasn't Stoudemire anymore. He retired as a Knick, in 2016. Arguably a top 5 greatest player out of high school ever. Think about this. I got Moses Malone, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant. I'm sorry, not Kevin Durant. Kevin Garnett and LeBron, and Stoudemire, who I would take over T-Mac any day of the week and twice on Thursday. That's kind of the argument. Like, those are the 2 guys out of high school who were superstars, didn't get a title, but it's like, who are you taking? And it's like, when healthy, I'd take Stoudemire over T-Mac. I thought T-Mac was very good. I still think T-Mac's more overrated. My Lord, what a career. Even before Nash got there, there was serious excitement with Stoudemire on our team. We finally had a big man who could offensively 100% dominate a game, get you a bucket. His mid-range was good. His dunks were phenomenal. His first step was crazy. He could do it all. And when Nash showed up, it all came together. The 7 seconds or less Suns were led by Nash, but they would have dominated they would not have dominated if not for Amar'e Stoudemire. It would have been fun. They wouldn't have been a great team. Stoudemire made him a great team. Same thing. It goes both ways. Yes, we had Starbury, but when Nash came in, it all came together. And even though he retired as a Knick, which I will never understand. I will not understand that, and that's the asterisk that I have personally for Stoudemire. Other than that, I don't remember not loving having Amar'e Stoudemire as a Phoenix Sun. He is a top 10 Suns player of all time, easily, and the 7th greatest Sun of all time, according to us. Amar'e Stoudemire is your Suns legend of the day. Thank you for watching Suns Latest. This is Rich Rubin. Keep subscribing. Keep telling your friends about this. Let the Suns fans in your life know about Suns Latest and have them comment, and we'll keep doing this. I appreciate you watching. Take care.